So I think we're all aware that Aerodrome works differently than Uniswap. I mean, the protocol, the DEX is still collecting fees, but they're distributed very differently. And I think a lot of people are still approaching Aerodrome with the old kind of Uniswap mentality, and they're missing out on the piece that we're going to talk about today, which is like, how do you actually analyze these pools? Because more goes into it than just looking at the volume. You can have a pool that has high volume, yet doesn't get voted for, and now you're kind of not earning what you thought you'd earn, and you're just kind of creating a mess of your portfolio. So this is going to be a really important video if you are on Aerodrome or you're investing in pools on Aerodrome. And Gordon's going to walk us through how he analyzes the pools and positions with his clients, fast track clients, UIG members, and just kind of our community. So Gordon, take it away.
Yeah, thank you, Lucas. So I think we're going to do a bit of a crash course for people so they can get a better grasp on that exact mechanism you're talking about, which is the fact that veAERO voters are the ones who are voting on where the new emissions get allocated week over week and which pools the rewards get incentivized towards within the Aerodrome ecosystem. So a lot of us are using VFAT at the moment, and you can enter a lot of these Aerodrome pools directly on VFAT. We'll do separate videos on VFAT. VFAT allows us to do lots of cool things like auto harvesting, auto rebalancing, etc. But for the purpose of this video, I just want to bring up a couple of pool examples to show us what we should be looking out for in terms of green flags, and then maybe what are some red flags as well when it comes to this whole voting system. So, I'm going to shortlist a couple of options here. And firstly, I'm going to bring up a pool that is showing somewhat of a positive trend with regards to the voting. So this is a full range pool for Ion WETH as an example. And there's three things I like to look at when I'm analyzing these pools. The first thing I want to look at is the chart. So I can copy the pool contract address here, and I can go directly over to Dex Screener and paste in that contract to get this exact chart for this Aerodrome pool. And then I want to price it in WETH because this is an Ion WETH pool. Okay. So what we're noticing here, firstly, is that the trend in terms of price action is very, very positive here. We did have a pullback at the weekend. We managed to hold this level of support. But since the beginning of September, we're in a very positive uptrend for the price action of Ion, which is an AI token against Ethereum. Okay, so that's a positive trend. We're in an uptrend. That's nice to see. The second thing I want to check out are the Aerodrome protocol metrics. Again, we'll make this link available in the description of the video. But essentially, this dashboard allows us to see all the data and analytics that are happening with regards to Aerodrome voting. Okay, so again, we can paste the contract address into this specific table, and it's going to bring up the data specifically for this Ion WETH pool. Okay, and it's showing us epoch over epoch how that voting is being allocated, because 1 week in the Aerodrome ecosystem is referred to as an epoch, and epochs run from Wednesday evening to Wednesday evening every single week. And the trend I'm looking for here, Lucas, is what's happening with the votes. And you can see for this particular pool, we're seeing an increased amount of voting allocation towards this pool every single week. Okay. Another factor within this Aerodrome ecosystem are the bribes or incentives. And what you're noticing here is we're also seeing an increase epoch over epoch in the amount of bribes and incentives that this pool is receiving. This is the Ionic team actually incentivizing the veAERO voters to vote on this pool. Okay. Now we can use this data to our advantage as liquidity providers, because if we know that we're seeing a positive trend in terms of price action and a positive trend in terms of the incentives and the votes that are being allocated to the pool, we can start to gauge where the trend is going and whether or not these APRs that we're receiving for the pool are going to go up or possibly down for the next epoch. And again, as a general trend, typically when you notice the voting increasing, that's also correlated with an increasing amount of APR that we can earn from the pool. Okay, so I know this is a lot of information, but the other thing, or the final thing that I do as part of this system, is on a Wednesday when the epoch is coming to an end, I can come directly into Aerodrome. I can come over to the voting area. I can again paste in the contract address to search for this specific pool. And typically as we're coming towards the last few hours of the epoch, I can use this percentage to gauge, roughly speaking, whether we're going to be getting a higher amount of votes or a lower amount of votes for the next epoch. So, if this was quoting 2% when we come in here next Wednesday, that could be a small increase again in the amount
Mhm.
of votes this pool is receiving. And therefore, I don't want to say guarantee because there's no guarantees because the other variable is the TVL of the pool fluctuating, but it's likely we're going to be getting around 200% APR for this pool for the next epoch if we get an increase in the voting percentage.
Sounds
So
good.
I wanted to run through that. I know there's a lot of info, but I think it's almost like gamifying this whole aerodrome
Yeah.
experience if we can understand the data.
Yeah, Aerodrome did a really good job with that. Basically, take take into account. We have another video. I'll try to post it up here. It's like how do we analyze pools? Let's just say on Uniswap, because there are a few key metrics we look at for the health of the pool, the TVL, the volume, blah blah blah. It's just Aerodrome has another piece to it, which I like because now the community gets involved. AERO actually has some form of utility and, well, a form of utility. And I think it's just a really, really cool ecosystem that they built. This is what I love about DeFi, by the way, is anyone watching this, I believe we're really early because there's so much room for innovation. And it's like a DEX is built, and then V2 is built, and then V3 is built. And then this aerodrome is built on top of this V3, and someone's going to come along the next 3 or 6 months and build something even better. And now it's like we don't have a ceiling to the financial system that's being built. There's no gatekeeper like the banks or the Fed. There are
Mm,
people like you and me who are creating a better financial system, and it's just it can't be slowed down. They can try to regulate it, but it just can't be slowed down. And imagine in 5 years the financial system we have built on the blockchain that is by the people for the people, with a little more security and probably a little more regulation, which is going to be
mhm,
important. I'm just like, this is the one piece of innovation in the last 100 years, the financial system that really hasn't been innovated much. We still use a balance sheet that's kept in a bank. We have a debit card now and a Visa, and that still does kind of plays against us, to be honest with you. And we have debt, uh, you know, way higher levels of debt. And I'm just like, everything else, the airplane, the car, rocket ships, everything's been computers,
mhm.
everything's been innovated except for banks. You got to question why. And to me, I'm like, this is the best space to be in if you're looking to grow, in my opinion. The internet, everyone's seen that little thing. Maybe I'll put it up here, but it's like the internet's just a passing fad as millions of people give up on it. And there was a few people like you and me and probably everyone watching this who were like, there's something here. It's not a
Mhm.
fad. And let me plant my seeds early. So kudos to everyone still watching. You are still here. Let us know in the comments if you have any follow up questions or anything else you want us to cover. And with that said, like, subscribe, and we are really hungry to grow the UIG, not because we need someone's $97. Truly don't care about that. It's if we can create an army of 10,000 people inside the UIG that are investing together and actually building DeFi businesses, we create financially free individuals. And I know for me, when I became financially free, I care less about what people think. I care less about, you can't tell me what to do. And I have more freedom to actually do things where I can impact others with my gifts. And I'm just like, why not create an awesome community that's doing that? And I think DeFi presents that opportunity for us. So would love for you to join us. Either way, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Gordon, thank you.
Let's go. Let's build a future.